Good evening and a very warm welcome to everyone here with us today. On behalf of BITS I am delighted to bring you another enlightening and informative session on UPSC. UPSC is one of the toughest exams in our country, and the glory that comes along to the people who are able to conquer it is unfathomable. Out of lakhs of people who appear for exam, only a select few people are given a chance to serve their country as civil services officers. The immense amount of effort and discipline needed to achieve that is no joke. This gives us all more reason to be immensely proud to have two of our BITS alumni with us here today. Shashwat Sangwan has secured AIS 34 in UPSC CSE 2021. He is a mechanical engineering graduate from 2018 batch. Divya Shakti has secured AIF 58 in UPSC CSE 2021. She graduated in economics and computer science in 2016 and secured AI 79th rank in a previous attempt. I would like to congratulate you on behalf of all of us for your marvelous result in UPSC exam. Saloni Khanna, UPSC mentor and assistant professor, Delhi University, will also be joining panel with them. She is an influential personality who mentors and guides UPSC aspirants to excel in their endeavors, providing valuable guidance which motivates candidates to improve. Thank you for gracing us with your presence today. I hope this session will prove to be very insightful for the UPSC aspirants among us and will also serve as a source of motivation for all the students who have joined us for this session today. Now, I would like to invite Saloni ma'am to take the session forward. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. It's an honor to be part of this session. And it's a pleasure to interact with people who, I've never met. I've never been to BITS Hyderabad. I'm so glad I could be here. To begin with, I would want to congratulate Divya and Shashwat. I understand your struggles. I'm sure you must have put in days and nights to reach here. And now that you are here, you truly deserve all the accolades that BITS Hyderabad is bestowing on you. So to begin this session, I would want to start with Divya. Ladies first. I truly believe in it. Divya, as they say, you've been a dualite in BITS. Tell us who is a dualite? That's a new term for people from Delhi University.
First of all, thanks a lot, ma'am. And thanks a lot, BITS and Embryo Hyderabad for having us here. And yeah, dualite is a term that a lot of BITS people use very frequently, but it confuses the outsiders. So dualite is basically a dual degree holder from any of the BITS campuses. And when we enter the campus, we only have our master's degree in our hand. And at the end of the first year, we can choose our bachelor's degree. That is our engineering BE degree. And it could be in any of the streams. And the five dual degrees that BITS offers is economics, physics, chemistry, biology, and maths. And it's a very wonderful combination. I think that freedom to, have an arts background, a science background, whatever degree you choose, along with an engineering degree, I think it's unique in India, as far as I know.
Of course it is. And these days we know there is a trend for interdisciplinary studies and, this kind of degree is promoting that. So Divya, how are you feeling? I'm sure on the top of the world, but you're already sitting in National Police Academy. So you knew that you would, be somewhere, even if you don't make through this time. So were you happier when you got through IPS, or are you got through IPS, if I'm not wrong?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, or are you happier now? I mean, do you think this has faded away the feeling of previous result?
So ma'am, I would say the last time I saw my result, my rank was 79th, and it was a decent rank, not very good, but yeah, it was a decent rank, and I was expecting Indian Administrative Services.
It was a very good rank, and at that rank, people generally get IAS. So
Yeah.
how?
I will also interrupt. That's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
very good rank.
yeah. How was it for you? You were just unlucky. We can put it that ways.
Yeah, I think for a person, I'm a person who never blames things on luck. So I'm like, always, if you work for something, you are going to get it. This belief I have carried throughout my life. But yeah, this belief was put to test after the CSE 2019 result. And at one point of time, I also thought that, yeah, maybe luck is a thing. But then, of course, I was a little disheartened, not very disheartened, because Indian Police Service is it's of course one of the top services in India, and it's a very, very good service. I have developed immense respect for police force after getting into the service. But yeah, the point is, the only disappointment that you have, that you work for something and you are not able to achieve it. So that disappointment remains. And then I decided to give another attempt. I'm definitely happier because I finally achieved what I worked hard for. I mean, the feelings are mixed. It is like a feeling of relief that I'm finally through this. Also, a feeling of uncertainty of how the life is going to be, because we all know that the civil services, especially Indian administrative services, is a challenging task in itself.
Coming to Shashwat. Shashwat, I've been told that the students who are going to watch us, they're very fascinated with the idea of civil services exam and what services are in general, but they don't have much idea about it. So I want Shashwat to tell us, since he's already in one of the services, which is a very good service. Shashwat, could you please tell students that what is the service about, and what is the preparation like?
Right. So, first of all, very good evening to everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here. And it's indeed a privilege to come back to our alma mater and address students. I remember attending a couple of these talks when I was a student in BITS Pilani. So, never thought I would be on the other side, but now that I am, you have to bear with whatever I say. So, civil services, just another job is how I qualified. But with that job comes immense power and immense responsibility. So I'll come to the part where I say it's
Let's break this. Please tell us what
yes.
kind of powers.
Okay, right. So power in terms of power, I would say when you go to a district. So let's talk about the IAS because most of us intend on joining the IAS as our first preference. So whenever you land up in a district, you have a lot of discretion to which parts of development and infrastructure you want to focus on. So for example, I'm a sports person. I would want to make sure that the areas under my jurisdiction have the best amount of sports facilities, right? So if I feel like doing that, I can get it done. I'm not sure how many jobs in the country or the world allow you to
You are
have this amount of
to make an impact. The job enables
yes,
you to make an impact.
yes, absolutely. But let's not be fooled. That part is just, I believe, a quarter of the total job responsibilities because most of it is about just maintaining the vast behemoth of bureaucracy and administrative structure that the British have left behind. You might also be sanctioning orders of Harpics for your public sanitation washrooms. On the other hand, you would also be doing protocol duties for, say, mantris, or you would also be sanctioning new project work. So it's a wide array of responsibilities. I've been told more than 300 departments report directly to the district magistrate when he's in office. So that being said, the amount of diversity, the scope of work, the impact of work is immense. Your personal life would probably take a big hit, as I'm seeing even in the current service where I'm working in. So why do we come to civil service? So for me, it was that I had a well-paying job in Bangalore. I was working as a product manager for close to 2 years. The money was good, but then I was stuck in that cycle where 5 days a week I would work very hard. 2 days we would go out party and then blow the weekend away, then come back to the same cycle. 4 weekends later, some amount is credited, and that cycle went on for 18 months, and I needed a break out of that cycle. So I was a 5 pointer in college, right? So I did not think I would get into one of the IIMs. GMAT I attempted, I could not clear GMAT. So some of my seniors were writing civil service, and that brought me into preparation. So basically, I wanted some meaning, some job that I come back home, I feel that, okay, I did this. It led to some kind of positive impact in the society. So that was where my motivation for civil services came. Later, I realized it's not just about, having a magic wand to cure problems because there are so many problems. It's also about doing mundane, basic day-to-day work. So, but you make peace with it. No job in the world will give you, say, 100% satisfaction or there would be 15-20% of the stuff in every job that you love, be it any job. So I think rest of the part of the baggage also comes with it. So you have to do that work also.
So the point that Shashwat is perhaps trying to make is that civil services is a mixed bag, which has some things to it, but then there are some costs that you need to pay to be able to do those good things. Correct?
Yes. I think ma'am summarized my argument. Thank you.
Anytime. Coming to Divya. Divya, what has been, let's assume, the mountain of your preparation? Something that you always tried to climb but could not, failed, tried again, and now you've finally been able to do the toughest part of your preparation.
I think, ma'am, we all know that the journey towards clearing UPSC is a very long drawn process. And the most important and the most difficult thing, if I could speak on behalf of most of the candidates, would be being consistent in the journey. So you could be very motivated one day and you could your motivation could plunge the very next day. So maintaining that consistency, no matter how low you feel, no matter how disappointed you are, no matter what amount of pressure or problems you're facing, getting back again, sitting at the table, maybe taking out your notes, reading the newspaper, and then finishing your task for the day. I think this consistency is one of the toughest things to achieve in this UPSC journey.
So, Divya, how did you get your motivation back? Let's say one day you did not perform well in a test, or one day got wasted because you didn't feel like studying. How did you start the next day?
Ma'am, I think one of the things that I learned early in the process was not to think too much.
Wow.
I stopped thinking. Like, what would happen is that I would not study for a day and then waste 2 days on thinking that why did I waste a day. So that was a very common thing that happened in like first month or so. But then I just decided that it's pointless to think a lot on what happened the previous day. The only thing that we have today, the only thing that we have is today. So I would focus on today, what could be done today. And there were days when I would not feel like studying at all. On those days, I would set very small goals. Like I would just read the newspaper, the goal to begin with. And if I'm done with the newspaper, I would feel happy that I've achieved this goal, the goal that I set out for today. So these were my ways of keeping the motivation and track, not thinking too much, focusing on the bigger picture. I always used to remind me why I got into this process, what brought me here. And even if today is not going that well, or if today is not turning out to be how I planned it to be, I think I focused on what would be the end result.
That's
to
a
keep
very
myself.
optimistic way to look at it. And I think that's the most pragmatic way also. Shashwat, do you agree?
So every person has different ways of dealing with the kind of uh, things UPSC throws at you. So I grew up as a sportsman. I run marathons, ma'am, and I still play basketball at the club level. पहले national भी खेलते थे, अब थोड़े बूढ़े हो गए. But मैं मैम स्पोर्ट्स की तरफ ही जाता था. शाम होते ही उस टाइम आई कुड नॉट फोकस, so I used to go play run at least 5-10 kilometers. I used to run, so I think that cleared my head of all the external thoughts. Even I took support of something like Divya took support of some kind of mental realignment to change her attitude. So you need that. You need sometimes friends to tell you that it's okay, it's just an exam. And sometimes parents also act as friends. I use the word sometimes because it's sometimes, not always.
Yes.
So there are different coping mechanisms and you need to identify yours. And that comes with self-awareness. So it was my first attempt. I did not realize not the depth of the examination, nor I was very self-aware that how will I tackle this amount of stress and uncertainty. And all of us succumb to it at some level. Some people might tell you that no, it was a chill journey. It's really not. Especially at every single stage, so many thoughts run in your head. I remember the day before the result came out. I'm just thinking that tomorrow, if my name's in the list, I've crossed the bridge. But if not, then I'm just writing prelims in a week, right? So that thought, there are so different extremes that it plays into mental state.
Also required to be able to adapt to, whatever happens, you have to just pick up from there and make the best out of it.
Absolutely, ma'am. Like that is a very hit or miss kind of moment. And I was just hugging my dog and I was like, "Bhai, tu kahin mat ja abhi. Ek din ruk ja."
I work with almost 1000 students every year और उनमें से 500 लोग इंटरव्यू के लिए बैठ रहे होते हैं. तो मेरा एक ऑब्जर्वेशन है कि हम बहुत सारे लोग फिजिकल एक्टिविटी मिस आउट कर देते हैं. During the preparation, we forget that we have to take care of our body also. So what happens when you are nearing the exam? Either your mental health is suffering, or stress takes toll over your body and you fall ill, or you're not able to perform to your optimum capacity. So
absolutely,
I have to understand from both of you, especially Shashwat, since he's a sports person and he really wants to do things around sports. So don't you think even UPSC aspirants should consider making some kind of physical activity, be it running? Like I also love to run, or be it yoga,
Okay.
or be it playing, or anything for that matter of fact that works for you. It should
Right.
be, mandatorily be a part of your daily routine for you to be able to perform your best. Do you agree to this?
Uh, Ma'am, yes, I agree to it. Like, but that's my bias towards sports. Sports has given me a lot in life. Even when I was in college, I used to captain basketball team.
Hmm.
So definitely, if you get into it, and I would say team sport is slightly better because it also, apart from fitness, it's also like a medium of socialization. So you talk to friends, you even like play together. Even if they are opponents, you chill after the match. You go for you eat momos or something. So it's just that you also bond with people and you realize there is a world outside UPSC. It will not change even if you become like today. Like yesterday, I went to play basketball with my friends. I see no difference. मैं उनको बता रहा हूँ कि यार मैं IAS होऊंगा. They're like हाँ ठीक है मैच के बाद बात करते हैं देखिए. So it's you need that to keep you grounded and to keep you in a positive mental state. For that reason I recommend that people should get some kind of a peer group or for sports. I think it's a very good.
Right. Because it's a marathon. UPSC preparation is a marathon. So, you cannot burn your energy in the first lap. You have to keep refueling yourself, if I have to put it that
Yeah,
way. Talking about the
absolutely.
world outside, Divya, you have been an investment banker. Now, how does somebody who is an investment banker or dualite take this risk of quitting their job and getting into services? And also, students want to know from you, Divya, what is the right time to take the risk? And are there any, uh, are there any characteristics that you need to observe in yourself that, okay, now I'm ready to take the risk?
Uh, Ma'am, before I answer your question, I'd just like to take a moment to add to what Shashwat just said. I think the importance of physical fitness in this journey could not be overemphasized. I think generally, like I also did in my first attempt, because we think that there is very little time and we need to utilize all time for studying, we miss out on the physical activities. But even during my second attempt, when I was at home and there were COVID times, I made a very conscious effort to, at least run if possible, or do some sort of physical exercise for half an hour to 40 minutes a day. And I could not tell you the amount of freshness that it gives you. And also you forget it's a de-stressing mechanism. So I just wanted to re-emphasize and go back to Shashwat's point.
It's 20 minutes in running. Those 20 minutes you're not taking away from your studies. Rather, you are adding to the quality of studies that you're going to
Yeah.
do after that.
So in the shorter run, as in if you look at it on a day-to-day basis, it might seem that you're losing out on 20 minutes that you could have put in study. But if you look at the longer and larger picture, the amount of motivation and freshness that it gives you, also the physical fitness, I think it's very important to stay physically fit.
Very.
Yeah. And then coming back to your question, ma'am, yeah, I was working in an investment bank and I had a application developer role there. So I was in a technology background there. And how did it occur to me that I need to move to something else? It's a very interesting thing, but I kind of felt after a while that I was living in a bubble. And this is not to demean the other services. I mean, they're excellent jobs, and I think all these companies and investment banks, and they're adding a lot to our economy. But ma'am, after a while, on a personal level, I realized that I did not know anything about the world around me. I would come back to my uh, hometown and I did not even know where the water is coming from in our taps. Where is this electricity coming from? These are very basic things. And I would talk to my parents and they would know each and everything. And I was like surprised that why do I not know all these things? The things that are so essential for our survival. And yet we forget to notice. While we know a lot of things that are happening on Instagram, Facebook, and all across the globe, we do not know the things that are happening around us. So it put me into a thinking mode, I would say. And that is when I started thinking, कि कैसे चल रही हैं चीजें, and what is this bubble that I'm living in, and what is the other India that is existing apart from the small India that I'm able to see every day. So after a lot of deliberation, and also I was lucky to have one of my relatives in civil services. And the amount of enthusiasm that he showed while speaking about his job, the works that he did in his district when he was posted there, and the impact that he thought he made on people's life, I think that kind of proved to be a turning point in my thinking mechanism. And that is when I decided that civil services would be good. I would be more suitable for that profile. And I decided to take this branch. The next question, ma'am, that what would be the right time to start with this examination? I think there's a quote that goes like, the best time was yesterday, the other best time is today. Yeah. So I think if you're ready and you think that you want this, today is the right time to start for it. But I just added that if you think you are ready for it, that is the biggest caveat here. You should not start preparing for civil services just because कोई पड़ोस में कर रहा है, किसी पड़ोस के इंसान ने किया था, मम्मी पापा कह रहे हैं कि कर लो, लोग कह रहे हैं कि यार सिविल सर्विसेज तो क्या चीज है. I think these are very superficial aspects.
Yes.
You should know why you want to get into this. Because as Shashwat said, it was his third attempt. It was my second attempt, but of course I took an EOL, so equally long journey. You have to keep studying for a very long journey. Then you'll be missing out on a lot of things that your friends and people around you are doing. You would see people getting married, moving abroad, having a lot of fun. If you're not motivated,
on, but yours is still there in the room with your book.
Yeah. And you have no clue when this is going to end.
So Divya, wasn't there this fear? What if it doesn't work out? I mean, will you go back to investment banking? Will you do something else?
I don't know. I would sound very overconfident, but the day I left my job, I knew I was not going back.
You know why I think that you knew why you were not going back? Because you started putting in hard work. When you're working hard towards a goal and you have clarity as to why you want to achieve it, there is no room for self-doubt, or the room for self-doubt is reduced. Shashwat, how was it for you? There was no fear. What if you don't make it?
Ma'am, so to answer this question, you have to know some backstory of my past 4 years.
Happy.
So 2018, ma'am, I was graduating out of college. I was a 5-pointer. So jobs का तो नहीं था हिसाब, और भी कुछ नहीं था. But some people were writing civil services. So fourth year के end में 2-3 महीने I studied, and I wrote civil services का prelims, which I failed. So obviously I did not know the depth of the examination, but that shattered my confidence even more. Like that was the final blow, that I lost all this thing in life, that I can do anything. And then I'm coming from a very middle class family. Parents also think that ये तो सही था, 12th तक तो नंबर ठीक दिखते थे, अब कॉलेज में भी तो they also somewhere did not have the maturity to deal with what I was going through. Then 19, I did not even fill the form, but I started applying laterally for jobs. I did not sit for placements, but I started off as in one of these consultancies in Gurgaon. And after that, I went to Bangalore as a product manager, and I started my second job. So all through 2019 until February of 2020, I was working there. And then I was writing some other government exams simultaneously. So I cracked the SSC exam, and I came back to Ministry of Commerce here in Delhi. And along with that job, I started writing civil service again. And I got in rank 320, say, last year I got Defense and State Service. And now I got the IAS. So it will be like my job number 5, right? So even though I've been a very confident person all throughout, but this exam brought me to my knees, and I was not very sure if I will be able to clear it or not. In fact, the day I saw my result, so sometimes they release fake PDF, like they just pick up some. I thought it's मतलब ये सोचा था कि इंटरव्यू अच्छा हुआ था.
Funny story that there's this girl from MP जिसने अपना रिजल्ट देखा और वहाँ के डीएम ने उन्हें फेलिसिटेट कर दिया, और बाद में पता चला कि वो रिजल्ट में उनका नाम नहीं था, किसी और का नाम था, साउथ इंडिया से कोई थे तो उनका नाम था. So you know, I mean that kind of joke is also there. So I understand sometimes good things are also tough to believe that they've happened to you.
Yeah, because ma'am, the kind of attitude I see towards Divya, I think it's incredible. And if you can reach a point where you are at this stage, it also significantly increases your chances of qualifying. So if some of us have seen that movie Batman Dark Knight Rises, that Christian Bale is in the pit and he tries to jump out many times with a harness, but he's actually able to do it when he jumps without a harness, where he knows that my bridge behind is burnt, right? So sometimes that also gives you that incremental push that pushes you on the other side.
And he also works. That's what we're trying to say.
Ma'am, like I used to say that I don't believe in luck god, but this exam brought me to my knees. I accepted in front of everybody that this kind of rank I was not expecting. Maybe with a very good interview which went time this time, I was thinking IPS में last में अगर आ जाएगा तो ठीक है. And ma'am, I'll be very honest, this year I was not going to, like I was done with UPSC after this. I was not even good, because see, that is what I tell people, that you clear this.
Yes.
You clear this exam, it's very good. But people from BITS and good colleges, they have so many other options in life जहाँ पे थोड़ी certainty और आप अच्छा काम कर सकते हो. So I tell them that even apart from UPSC, if you have options, then you should have something to go back to. Because let's face it, most of us have general. Some might have EWS, but most of us are general. Now 70 people, 75 people are clearing out of thousands of people that are writing. So even though you might be brilliant, you might be working hard, but statistically the odds are so abysmal that you can't even do anything about it. And I've seen so many of my close friends.
I generally say that in UPSC circuit, we have this joke. If you throw somebody from 30th floor, the probability of saving them is higher. But the probability of somebody qualifying this exam is lesser than that. So it makes sense
Absolutely.
to have something that you can go back to. But at the same time, you should work like Divya, feeling that all your bridges are burned and you need to put in all that you have in your.
Yes, yes. So just adding quickly something to ma'am, I do not mean to dissuade anyone. In fact, it would be great that people from BITS and good colleges are coming forward towards public service. But my only point is that just be a little pragmatic. If
The reality check and not just
yeah,
the herd mentality that you see IS officers, or earlier you used to see red lights, or red bacons and all those things. तो उससे बहुत ज्यादा फैसिनेट नहीं होना है. रियलिटी में बहुत मुश्किल है वहां तक पहुंचना, और जरूरी नहीं है
absolutely.
कि आप हार्ड वर्क करके भी पहुंच जाएंगे. बहुत बार लक भी डिटरमाइन करता है. तो दिव्या लक में बिलीव नहीं करती है.
Sorry, Divya.
But sometimes life has other plans for you which might work out better for you. Like
Yes.
I was reading about Satya Nadella. He couldn't get through prelims twice. So we would not have had him there if he would have been DM of some district in India.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. So Divya, if I have to ask you, because this panel discussion will not be complete if I don't ask you, what is the mantra for success in this exam?
I think that's a very difficult and important question at the same time. Ma'am, I think when I started preparing, I listened to a lot of toppers talk, trying to decipher this mantra. And although it is very difficult, I think there are a few things that I figured out. I mean, a few things that would constitute the common denominator across all the toppers. The first thing is understanding why you want to get into the civil services. I think this point could not be overemphasized, because unless and until you know the why, you won't be able to figure out the how of it. So you must have a very clear idea of why you want to get into the civil services. That's the first step to begin with. The first part of the mantra. The second would be understanding the exam and the process. Do not just waste your time in studying what someone tells you or what some coaching is publishing. I mean, it would take a lot of effort from your side. I agree completely. But that effort would be totally worth it, because you would be sitting with the syllabus. You would be sitting with the previous year question papers, and you would be analyzing that how the syllabus translates into the question paper. And that is very, very important. Number 3 would be being consistent. I mean, this is like, ये तो cliche बन गया, इतनी बार बोला जाता है. But no matter क्या हो रहा है, you have to study for 5 to 6 hours every day. So I was someone who never, I think even in the best of my days, I would study only for 9 hours. That was my maximum, because I have that capacity. That is my life. That is my limit. But 5-6 घंटे तो आपको रोज दिन पढ़ना ही चाहिए. That is, you take 2 hours for newspaper. आप 2 घंटे अपने option में दीजिएगा, 2 घंटे कुछ और पढ़िएगा, GSE पढ़िएगा, तो 6 घंटे तो आपको देने ही पड़ेंगे. I think so. Yeah, figuring out the why you want to get into the civil services, analyzing the pattern of the exam, what is being asked of the candidate. Put a lot of time. I put 1 month into that. Now 1 month in a 11-month cycle would seem a lot, but that 1 month would give you the leverage or the advantage that many other candidates would not have even after months of their preparation. So that is very important. And then once you have figured all this out, just be consistent and believe in. I'm saying all these things we keep hearing, so it sounds so cliche, but
yeah, coming from you, these things just get their value or worth redefined, because you have achieved success and it's coming from you now.
Yeah, I think ma'am, these 3 would be very important. 4 would be have your support system, because that is very important.
Long tiring journey.
yeah, it's a long tiring journey. You'll need friends, you'll need your parents, you'll need people who you can just tell your problems. Well, maybe they'll just listen to you for 10 minutes, but having someone to listen to you and telling you that it's okay, you'll be able to do it, that confidence, the push that provides in times of in your low times is very important. So these four things are like very important for me, according to me, in this journey.
Coming to Shashwat, Divya was talking about coaching centers. I would not ask you the cliche question whether one should take coaching or one shouldn't take coaching. Rather, I want to know from you. I feel that there is an information flood these days, YouTube, social media, Telegram channels, notes, markets, everything is just flooded with information. How do you find out or how do you filter good content from bad content or relevant material from irrelevant?
So, ma'am, I had a job all throughout my preparation. I could not have opportunity of even making notes. Some parts of optional only I made my notes. But what I understood is that UPSC gives you two hints and only two hints. First is the scope of the syllabus that it publishes in the notification. And the second is the question paper that it puts on the website after you are done. So looking at these two things, you can use some common sense and see that, okay, this is a topic. These are the general questions that are being asked. So इसको answer करने के लिए मुझे कितना depth में knowledge चाहिए. That is more than enough, because sometimes, coaching people also want to get financial benefit and therefore they enroll students for 1 year plan. Sometimes they just go in too much depth of Akbar and everything to where it's like, this is my personal opinion. I don't mean to say bad stuff about anybody, but you can just
whatever works for you, you should go for
yeah
it.
yeah. But I feel that these two hints with some common knowledge gives you an idea about how much depth you need to cover. So let's say I already know about GST. I'm speaking, Divya is my friend. She explained me that, Shashwat, this is GST, this is this. So already I'm on top of GST. Now what I need is just some tangible data that, okay, these percent businesses are in, these are that. From wherever I get it. If I hear it from some 9 p.m. news, that's also okay. If I need from newspaper, so
But what
you should not.
sources of preparation?
My sources of preparation. It was so my friend Anshika, we studied together. Her GS notes were my sources of preparation. She's at NPA right now. She's also training for police service. So I owe it to her that. But you can just pick any source. My point was that you should be on top of the basic terms mentioned in the syllabus, and you should be able to have some idea about the previous year questions regardless of the source. You can use Google, you can use Wikipedia, topper answer copies, any place, but जस्ट उतना ही पढ़ो जितना एग्जाम के लिए चाहिए. उससे ज्यादा जब आप पढ़ने लग जाते हो तो वो स्कोप वाइड हो जाता है एंड इट यू आर नॉट एबल टू रिवाइज इट. सो रिगार्डलेस ऑफ द सोर्स, जस्ट सम बेसिक इन्फो.
Importance of revision also.
हाँ मैम, because when you limit the scope, then only you get time for revision. If you just keep on doing new stuff, then you won't be able to revise, and then it becomes.
Please tell students, why do they need to keep revising what they've read?
Because the brain is a very cruel thing. It loves to forget important stuff. It remembers the irrelevant details, like I don't know, some random TV shows, some Simpsons episode it will remember, but it will not remember when you're solving the prelim question.
Limited time of 3 hours, you have to recall whatever you've studied in 1 year. So I
Yes.
if you don't revise it, you will not be able to recall and then repeat it in the exam in form of answers.
Absolutely. Revision, if you don't revise, then it's just waste of time even reading it one time. So limit sources, but read that multiple times. And once you commit to a source, don't get seduced by some new material that is in the market, because like ma'am rightly mentioned, there is an over flooding of information. And I don't mean to demean anyone, but even the people who are creating that content, their credibility and their academic qualifications are also questionable at times. So if you feel that you have a fair head to think and differentiate right and wrong, just use trust on that. It will pay off.
Right. And Shashwat, why anthropology?
Ma'am, someone told me syllabus is less. There is no other reason. But I developed a very much liking for the subject. So I think that should be the main consideration, that 40% of your time is studying an optional subject. So let's say we have to go on, with somebody, you have to meet somebody. If that person is interesting, has something new to add, not boring, not repetitive, then you like spending time with that person. But if this guy is talking the same stuff again and again, so it's like that. When you're choosing a companion for on an average 2 to 3 years.
Right.
You might clear in first attempt, but 2-3 साल लग जाते हैं. Most people that I've seen. So pick some subject in which you have some kind of interest.
It's like finding a companion for a relationship. You have to see if it suits you, if you like it, if you'll be able to take it somewhere. So your optional is like that. Divya, how was geography for you? Do you endorse geography as an optional, or do you think you could have scored better in the first attempt itself had it not been geography?
I think geography is a very controversial option these days. I mean, you'll find all sorts of comments about geography. But personally, for me, I never doubted geography as such. Because my only criteria for choosing an optional subject was the amount of interest that I had in that subject. And to be very honest, I found geography very interesting. I don't know, because I like traveling and I like observing the physical features of a place that I'm at. I always found it very interesting because when I started studying geography, I could just explain कि अरे ये तो ऐसा shape इस कारण से है इस पहाड़ का, and this is why this looks ऐसा. So what I mean to say is that बहुत practically मैं relate कर पाती थी उस subject से, which made it easier for me to memorize the concepts, understand it, and even it made the subject very interesting for me.
But Divya, why do you think students don't opt for engineering subjects? ऐसे क्या इंडिया में इंजीनियरिंग की पढ़ाई इतनी अच्छी है ही नहीं कि आप उसे यूपीएससी का ऑप्शनल ले सकें? मतलब ऐसा है क्या कुछ?
मैम आई थिंक बहुत सारे रीजंस हो सकते हैं इसके पीछे. तो पहला रीजन, जैसे मेरे केस में, आई एम अ कंप्यूटर साइंस इंजीनियर एंड दैट इज नॉट एन ऑप्शनल इन द यूपीएससी CSE एग्जाम. सो ये रीजन हो जाता है कि काफी लोग आजकल कंप्यूटर साइंस और आईटी में करते हैं.
आपको नया साइंस सब्जेक्ट ही पढ़ना है तो आप उससे बेटर है कि ह्यूमैनिटीज का कोई सब्जेक्ट पढ़ें और प्रैग्मेटिक.
एक तो होता है कि बहुत सारे केसेस में आपकी इंजीनियरिंग सब्जेक्ट हो सकता है ऑप्शनल की लिस्ट ना हो. सेकंड पॉइंट ये होता है कि द काइंड ऑफ ओवरलैप that non-engineering subjects provide. So if I'm studying electrical engineering or mechanical engineering, उसका कोई overlap नहीं है आपके GS के papers से. So that is another reason why people choose a non-engineering subject over an engineering one.
Okay. Shashwat and Divya, I also feel that when you take this exam, you're in a very different stage in life. You're young, heartbreak होता है, आपका travel करने का मन करता है. तो ये सारी distractions को कैसे handle किया जाता है exam time पे? मतलब I wouldn't want to dwell into anything personal, but I just genuinely want to know that when you're in this stage in life, you seek partnerships or you seek companion, you seek friends, you want to go out, you want to explore places. तो ये सारी distractions को कैसे handle करें?
Would Shashwat want to go first or should I go first?
I think it's a tricky question.
Yeah, it is. And but for me, I found my partner in the civil service preparation, right? So I can't say anything bad about UPSC. But that being said, the distractions do come in at different points. Like empty mind is a very cruel thing. It just makes you overthink. But I would say that keep yourself busy. That is the only thing you can do here. And it is very normal to have heartbreak, to have fitness issues, to have parents, friction with parents, with friends. And it's a very normal part of growing up in this century, I feel. So instead of just trying to, not accepting it, just accept that you hoga. But keep the core of your energy, the core of your headspace reserved for this examination. Once those dots are in place, then it's okay. The outside thing, you can have a couple of vices, like all of us do. So that's okay. But the core of the object of why, Shashwat Sangwan is on this table right now is to study for the next 2 hours. So once that headspace you have to work on, and once that is sorted, थोड़ा बहुत आगे पीछे चलता रहता है. Like वो तो it's practice. I wouldn't say the first breakup I had, I took it very well, but दूसरा तीसरा होते होते you just make peace with it कि हाँ ठीक है. It's like that.
I think from my side, ma'am, I think Shashwat has put it really well. I don't think I could have put it any better myself. But yeah, like he said, these things will happen. You need to bring back your focus to the most important thing in your life at that moment. And if you decide that the most important thing in your life at that moment is your UPSC preparation, you have to keep coming back to it. Also, learn to channelize your energy. I mean, if there is a heartbreak or if there is something that is not well in your life, just focus on how I could make situation better for me. Like if I study now, or if I put my sincere efforts in the preparation, would it not be helpful in the longer run? would it not actually make things better for me? So you can always try focusing on the positive aspect of it. And of course, it's a very long journey. 3, 4, 5 years में अगर आप expect कर रहे हैं कि आपकी life बिल्कुल smoothly चलती रहेगी और कुछ भी नहीं होगा, then I think unrealistic हैं वो expectations. So you have to be ready for it. You need to channelize your energy to better for achieving better goals. Like I said, positive चीजों पे focus कीजिए. और मेरे हिसाब से मैम, in such situations it's also very important that you focus on shorter goals. बहुत लंबा मत सोचिए, मतलब सोचिए, एक पिक्चर रखिए, बट ऐसे सोचिए कि आज का दिन how can I make my today productive? What is the best that I could get out of today? In that way you'll be less ऐसे stressed, बहुत burden नहीं लगेगा आपके ऊपर, आपको लगेगा कि ठीक है बस आज ही पे focus करना है. And one day at a time, I think, as we say, time is the best healer. One day at a time, things will get better and you'll get back in shape.
I would want to bring this panel discussion to an end with the last question, which will be one mistake which both of you have to tell us that others should not make, or one mistake that you made and others can maybe learn from it.
Ma'am, I think in my first attempt, तो ऐसा कुछ mistake मुझे याद आता नहीं. I think I did my best that I could. I think I could have been more confident during the last stage of my preparation, that is interview. Because बहुत बारी ऐसा होता है कि interview could be like बहुत ऐसे लग सकता है कि कितना difficult है, because that is the stage, that is the only stage of the examination when you are actually going to face the exam.
Right.
So it can be a little taxing at times. ऐसा लगता है people, they get nervous, they get scared. I think उस stage पे, because it's the last and final mile. I think Shashwat is a marathon runner, so he would know कि last and final mile का कितना importance होता है in any journey. So उस time पे भी अपना focus बनाए रखिए. That would be the learning from my first attempt. Second attempt में ma'am, I would say कि अगर आपके first attempt में आपने किस चीज में बहुत अच्छा किया है, तो don't get overconfident.
Exactly.
आपको याद रहना चाहिए कि आपने अच्छा इसलिए किया है क्योंकि आपने बहुत मेहनत की थी, इसलिए नहीं किया क्योंकि आप उसमें बहुत smart हैं. So you should remember why you did well and keep doing that. Do not take things for granted in this journey.
Beautifully said. Shashwat, coming to you.
Ma'am, I think initially I took the exam too lightly. So just know your competition, that if we come from very prestigious college, we have beat a lot of competition behind us. So that we feel that it has been thrust upon us. But you see, you come to Delhi sometimes in ORN and you see how much people are struggling. So I would say that don't take this exam too lightly. You will save yourself 1 or 2 attempts that way. And second is that be open to learning. Be open to realigning your strategy. Be open to correcting your mistakes. Stay humble. Stay very so. It did not come natural to me, but I've learned how to be humble. So it actually helps you to prepare better, to mold your strategy better, and to be an adaptive person when you're studying this exam. Like as very perfectly Divya said, that sometimes you'll get very good marks in say essay. You can't say that next year also you'll get it, right? So just study essay with the same vigor, if not more, and protect those marks. Like I had this, I've had excellent essay scores both the times, but someone told me this before my exam, that so I told him ki essay to apna hai. He's like, no, work hard, work equally hard and more hard, because there's no guarantee you'll hit the same score. So this year I even increased my scores from last year. So that is what I would say, that be humble and just be happy, right? Because it's actually something good that you're building on, right? So just keep a smile on your face, I think.
Adding to your personality, as Divya said, you get to know आपके घर में पानी कहाँ से आ रहा है, आपके घर में बिजली कहाँ से आ रही है. आप generally
Right.
aware बनते हैं. So even if you're on a date or even if you're meeting somebody new, you always have a perspective of your own. So even if you don't get through the exam, your personality will be such that you will be able to make a place for yourself if you've honestly worked for the exam. Summing up this session, as Divya and Shashwat told us, there's no substitute for hard work. Divya has put it beautifully. You should not take anything for granted, but your confidence will be your biggest weapon. And as Shashwat said, we need to have a kind of balance, when we are running the marathon of this preparation. You have to take care of yourself. You have to have a backup, or, something that you can go back to. And you need to have self-belief. So with this, I would like to conclude this session. I would want to thank Divya and Shashwat for their valuable time. I would also want to thank BITS Hyderabad for having us. I would want to tell all the students who are listening to us right now that this exam is a very good job, a great job, but not the only job in the country. Aspire to do it, do justice to it, become somebody worthy who gets through this exam, just like Divya and Shashwat. They've proven their mettle. I hope someday we see you also in such panel discussions. But in case you don't get through the exam, don't lose your heart. There is something else better planned for you. Thank you, everybody. Jai Hind. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you,
Uh,
ma'am. And just re-emphasizing what Saloni ma'am has said, that whatever happens, however the dot connects, it will be good. And you need to just have a positive attitude. Ma'am has seen aspirants, like we have had, if we have 3 years of experience, ma'am has probably had 2 or 3 times that amount of experience with aspirants. So what ma'am says has a lot of weight, and it has some depth. So think about it before you do other things.
And also, I
And
want to make this point that right now, maybe you two are beginning your journey. Life in service is also not easy. So, all the qualities that you're talking about, hard work, confidence, work life balance, all these qualities will come handy when you have tough time when you're, at work. So, right now, I'm experiencing that bit also because I have a companion, who's going through that every day. So, I see the hardships of it. I see that not all of it comes easy. It's not कि आप एक बार IAS बन गए तो आपको सब सबऑर्डिनेट्स आपके सुनेंगे ही या सारी चीजें आपके अकॉर्डिंगली हो जाएंगी. बहुत बार वहां भी
right.
फ्रस्ट्रेशन आएगा. आप कुछ करना चाहेंगे लेकिन रिसोर्सेज के कंस्ट्रेंट की वजह से या और किसी तरह की फ्रिक्शन की वजह से आप नहीं कर पाएंगे. तो वहां पर भी आपको ये प्रेगमेटिक अप्रोच जिसके बारे में दिव्या और शाश्वत ने बताया, ये अलाइव रखनी है, जील अलाइव रखना है, इसे छोड़ना नहीं है.
Thank you,
Yeah,
ma'am.
thank you
Thank
so
you so
much,
much.
ma'am.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you everybody.
Thank you so
um,
much.
Thank you, everyone. It was an absolute pleasure hosting you and getting an insight into your preparation goals. This phenomenal learning experience will surely help us to chart our own path through the journey of UPSC preparation. I thank Saloni ma'am for her insights and for gracing us with her presence. On behalf of everyone at BITS NGO, I sincerely thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here with us today. I also express heartfelt gratitude to our audience for joining this session today. Thank you.